7. Stoic Rules to emotionally detach from someone, a different perspective. How to emotionally detach from someone without becoming cold or numb. There comes a moment, maybe in the dead of night, maybe in the middle of a crowded street, when you realize you're holding on to someone who's already let go of you. Or maybe they didn't leave, but you're the only one still clinging, still replaying old conversations, still searching for meaning in a story that's already ended. I get it. Letting go feels impossible. Your mind fights it. Your heart resists it. Maybe you tell yourself, just one more message. Maybe they'll change. Maybe I should have done something different. But deep down, you already know the truth. Holding on is hurting you more than letting go ever could. This is where Stoicism comes in. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you to shut off your emotions and become some kind of unfeeling robot, let me stop you right there. Stoicism isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming strong. It's about feeling everything fully, but not being controlled by those feelings. It's about learning how to love deeply without being enslaved by attachment. The reason you're struggling right now isn't because you love too much. It's because you've tied your happiness, your peace, your sense of self to someone else. And when they pulled away, they didn't just take themselves with them. They took a part of you. That ends today. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 powerful Stoic rules that will help you detach. Not in a way that makes you bitter or numb, but in a way that makes you free. These rules are about reclaiming your peace, your clarity, and most importantly, yourself. Because at the end of the day, emotional detachment isn't about pushing people away. It's about pulling yourself back. Let's get started. Rule 1. Understand what's in your control. You're exhausted, aren't you? Spinning thoughts, overanalyzing their words, replaying scenarios, wondering if you could have changed something. It's like being stuck in an emotional tornado, swirling in chaos, but going absolutely nowhere. But here's the hard truth. You are suffering because you are trying to control something that was never yours to control. This is one of the first and most powerful lessons of Stoicism. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, put it simply, some things are up to us, and some things are not. That's it. That's the whole secret. The problem is most people live their entire lives resisting this truth. They obsess over changing other people's feelings, controlling their actions, forcing outcomes that were never in their hands to begin with. And when reality refuses to bend, they suffer. Let's put this into perspective. The illusion of control. Think about how much time and energy you've spent trying to make someone love you back, waiting for a message that never comes, hoping they'll finally realize what they lost, replaying your last conversation, searching for some hidden meaning. That's emotional slavery. You're placing your peace in the hands of someone else. You're making their decisions, their feelings, their actions the deciding factor for your happiness. But let me ask you something. Did any of that control actually work? Did overthinking make them come back? Did worrying change how they treated you? Did replaying the past make the pain go away? No. It only drained you. Taking back your power. Right now, you have 2 choices. Continue to suffer over things you can't control. Shift your focus to what you can control. You cannot control how they feel, whether they stay or leave. Whether they regret hurting you, you can control your response to their actions, your focus, where you place your energy. The meaning you give to this experience. The moment you accept this, you win. You step out of the emotional tornado and into clarity. You stop waiting for them to give you peace, and you start choosing peace for yourself. A simple exercise to detach. Right now, grab a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, write, "Things I can't control." List every single thought, every action, every feeling of theirs that you're obsessing over. On the other side, write, "Things I can control." Your thoughts, your actions, your healing. Then, and this is the most important part, burn or tear up the first list. It's gone. You're done with it. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into that tornado again, remind yourself, that is not mine to control. This is your first step to emotional freedom. Now let's talk about the next trap that keeps people stuck, not seeing things as they actually are. Rule 2. See things as they are, not as you wish. Be honest. How many times have you rewritten the past in your head? How many times have you looked at this person and seen potential instead of reality? How many times have you excused their actions, telling yourself they didn't mean it, that they'll change, that deep down, they're different? Let me tell you something. The person you're in love with might not even exist, not the way you think they do. The danger of illusions. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, had a powerful rule. You must see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. Most of us don't fall in love with reality. We fall in love with our version of it. We cling to the idea of what could have been, not what actually is. We remember the good moments and conveniently forget the pain. We make excuses for red flags. This is how we stay stuck. The harsh truth. They showed you who they are. Here's a truth that stings. If they wanted to stay, they would. If they truly valued you, they would have shown it. People don't hide who they are for long. Their actions tell you everything. The problem is, we don't always want to listen. We ignore the bad, magnify the good, and trap ourselves in false hope. But hope based on illusions is not hope. It's self-betrayal. How to see clearly, even when it hurts. If you want to emotionally detach, you have to see them as they are. Not as you wish they were. Not as they were in the beginning. Not as they could be one day. But exactly as they are. Here's a brutal but necessary exercise. Take a blank page and write down every painful thing they did. Every moment they disrespected you, neglected you, made you question your worth. Read it out loud. Sit with it. Every time you find yourself fantasizing about the perfect version of them, pull out that list. This isn't about hate. It's about clarity. Detachment begins when you stop chasing illusions and start accepting reality. And reality is this. If they were right for you, you wouldn't have to convince them to treat you right. If they truly cared, you wouldn't be struggling like this. You are mourning a version of them that never truly existed. The moment you see that, really see it, something inside you shifts. The attachment loosens. The illusion fades. And you begin to let go. Rule 3. Impermanence is the nature of life. Let me ask you something. Would you hold onto a flower after it's wilted? Would you keep a candle burning forever, afraid to let it go out? No, because you understand that flowers bloom and fade, candles burn and melt. That's their nature. But when it comes to people, to relationships, to love, we resist this truth. We act as if some things should last forever, as if the ending is a mistake. It's not. It's just life. The illusion of forever. Right now, you're in pain because you thought this person would always be there. Maybe you believed they were your future, your forever. But Stoicism teaches one of the hardest but most freeing truths. Everything is borrowed. Nothing is truly ours to keep. This isn't meant to sound depressing. It's meant to liberate you. The only reason something is beautiful, the only reason it has meaning, is because it doesn't last. Think about it. A sunset is breathtaking because it fades. A song is powerful because it ends. Love is meaningful because it's fleeting. If relationships were permanent, if people never changed or left, you wouldn't appreciate them. The pain you're feeling now, it's proof that something mattered, but it's also proof that it's time to let it go. Seneca's advice: love without attachment. The Stoic philosopher Seneca had a practice. Whenever he held something dear, his wealth, his loved ones, even his own life, he reminded himself that it was on loan from the universe. You may wish to retain them, but nature says otherwise. Enjoy them, but while enjoying them, never forget that they are not yours. This isn't about living in fear of loss. It's about embracing life as it is, impermanent, unpredictable, temporary. When you accept this, you stop fighting reality. You stop clinging to things that are already slipping away. The takeaway: gratitude over possession. Instead of thinking, "Why did this end?" shift to, "I'm grateful it happened." The love you shared, it was real, but it wasn't meant to last forever. The memories, they're yours to keep, but they're not meant to keep you stuck. The person, they were part of your story, but they were never meant to be the whole book. This is detachment, not becoming cold, but becoming wise. Instead of fearing endings, embrace them. Instead of resisting change, flow with it. Because the truth is, no matter how much you hold on, everything in this life is already slipping through your fingers. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll find peace. Now let's talk about the biggest misconception about detachment: that it means not caring at all. Rule 4. Detachment is not indifference. A lot of people hear the word detachment and think it means shutting down, building walls, never loving again. That's not detachment. That's fear. Stoicism doesn't teach you to stop caring. It teaches you to stop clinging. It teaches you how to love fully, but without losing yourself. The wrong way to detach. When people get hurt, they often react in one of two ways. They become numb. They swear off love. They push people away. They pretend they don't care. They become desperate. They chase after love. They cling harder. They fear being alone. Both are extreme. Both are rooted in fear. And both lead to suffering. True Stoic detachment is something else entirely. The right way: love without possession. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with all your heart. But never allow it to disturb your soul. That means you can love someone deeply, but accept that they might leave. You can cherish someone, but not make them your entire world. You can enjoy love, but not depend on it for happiness. This is freedom, to love without fear, to experience without attachment, to hold without gripping too tightly. A story of true detachment. Imagine two people holding a bird in their hands. The first person clutches it tightly, afraid it will fly away. But in doing so, they crush it. The second person holds it gently, allowing it to rest, but ready to let it go. Which one truly loved the bird? This is how we should love people, not as possessions, not as sources of our happiness, but as free beings we're grateful to experience. If they stay, they stay. If they leave, they leave. Either way, your peace remains intact. How to practice true detachment. Remind yourself, you don't own anyone. They are not yours. They never were. They are a person on their own journey, just like you. Shift from need to choice. Instead of saying, I need them, say, I choose to love them while they're here. Detach with love, not resentment. Don't let your pain turn into bitterness. You don't need to hate them to move on. You just need to accept reality. The final thought, the strongest love is free. Love. People think detachment means not feeling. But the truth is, it allows you to feel everything more deeply. Without fear, without desperation, without suffering. You are not losing love by letting go. You are purifying it. You are making room for something even stronger. Love without chains. Love without fear. Love without attachment. And that is the kind of love that will never destroy you. Rule 5. The power of negative visualization. Let me ask you something. What if the worst thing you're afraid of has already happened? You're afraid of losing them. But haven't you already lost them? You're afraid of feeling alone, but aren't you already feeling that now? You're afraid of them moving on. But isn't that part of life? This is where Stoicism introduces one of its most powerful yet counterintuitive tools. Negative visualization, the practice of imagining loss before it happens, so that when it does, it doesn't break you. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to think about something painful on purpose? Because whether you realize it or not, your mind is already doing it, but in the wrong way. You're already visualizing the worst-case scenario, but instead of preparing for it, you're dreading it. Instead of facing it, you're resisting it, and as long as you resist it, it owns you. How negative visualization sets you free. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming." In other words, if you prepare for something mentally, when it happens, it no longer controls you. You've already faced it. You've already felt it. And that takes away its sting. Let's try something right now. Close your eyes and imagine the thing you fear most. Imagine they never come back. Imagine they move on. Imagine you never hear from them again. Now sit with it. Let the fear rise. Let it burn. And now breathe. Look around. You're still here. Your heart is still beating. The world hasn't ended. Because the truth is, you are stronger than this pain. It only feels unbearable because you haven't fully faced it. But once you do, you take away its power. How to use negative visualization to detach. Write down your worst fear. Be specific. What exactly are you afraid of? Sit with it. Instead of pushing it away, let yourself feel it fully. Imagine life after it. Picture yourself healed, thriving, happy again. Because that's where you're headed. The mind fears what it hasn't accepted. But the moment you accept it, really accept it, you'll realize you've already survived the worst. You are not waiting for pain. You are walking through it. And soon, you will walk out of it. Now let's talk about the most important thing of all, rebuilding yourself after detachment. Rule 6. Reconnect with your purpose. Here's the harsh truth. If you feel lost without them, it's because you made them your purpose. And that's why it hurts so much. When you tie your sense of self to another person, their absence leaves a void, not just in your heart, but in your entire identity. But guess what? That void isn't meant to be filled with another person. It's meant to be filled with you. The mistake we make in love. So many people make the mistake of thinking, they made me happy. They gave me meaning. Without them, I'm nothing. But no one can make you anything. What really happened was, they reflected something in you. A part of yourself you either lost or never fully embraced. And now, it's time to reclaim it. The Stoic view on purpose. The Stoics believed that a meaningful life comes from within, not from external attachments. Marcus Aurelius didn't define himself by love or relationships. He defined himself by his purpose, his commitment to wisdom, virtue, and action. Seneca didn't chase validation from others. He chased self-mastery, becoming the kind of person who doesn't need external love to feel whole. That's what you need to do now. Who were you before them? Take a step back. Before this person entered your life, what made you excited to wake up in the morning? What dreams did you have that had nothing to do with them? What parts of yourself did you neglect because you were so focused on them? Because those passions, those goals, those lost parts of yourself is what you need to return to. Rebuilding yourself, step by step. Find something bigger than love. A project, a mission, a skill, something that reminds you. Your purpose is greater than one person. Move your body. Change your energy. Physical movement shifts emotions. Run, lift, dance, walk. Do something that reminds you that you are alive. Create more than you consume. Instead of drowning in nostalgia or social media stalking, create something new, a routine, a habit, a new version of you. Stop waiting to feel ready. You won't wake up one day suddenly healed. You heal by moving forward anyway. The takeaway: make yourself the main character again. Right now, you're sitting in the wreckage of a story that ended. But that story was just a chapter. The book isn't over. And guess what? You're the author. You get to decide what happens next. You get to write a story where you don't just survive this pain, you rise from it. Not because someone else saves you, but because you save yourself. Rule 7. Practice self-discipline over emotion. Let's be real. The hardest part of detachment isn't knowing what to do. It's actually doing it. You already understand the logic. You know you need to stop checking their social media. You know you shouldn't text them late at night. You know you have to move on. But your emotions, they don't care about logic. They'll tell you to send that just one more message. They'll whisper, "What if they miss me?" They'll tempt you with false hope. And this is where most people fail. Not because they don't want to detach, but because they don't have the self-discipline to enforce it. The Stoic secret to emotional control. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, gave us a simple but powerful reminder. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your feelings are like waves. They rise, they crash, they pull you under, but you are not the waves. You are the one standing on the shore. Self-discipline is what separates those who stay trapped in their emotions from those who break free. It's the ability to feel everything, but act on nothing. How to strengthen your emotional self-control. The 24-hour rule. When you feel the urge to reach out, wait 24 hours. Let the impulse pass. If after 24 hours you still feel the same, then decide rationally, not emotionally. No more. One last time. Lies. You know that voice in your head. The one saying, just check their profile one last time, or just one last call. That's a trap. There is no one last time. Cut it off at the root. Interrupt the pattern. Every time you catch yourself obsessing, do something physical. Go for a run. Take a cold shower. Change your environment. Break the loop. Commit to a higher standard. Ask yourself, would my strongest, most confident self do this? If the answer is no, don't do it. The final truth. You are not a slave to your feelings. Right now, it feels like your emotions are in control, like they're the ones making the decisions, but they're not. You are. The moment you realize that, you become untouchable. Not cold. Not numb, but in control. Final words, you are free. Now look back for a second. Look at where you started. The pain, the attachment, the endless overthinking, the fear of letting go. And now, look at where you are. You understand what's in your control and what's not. You see things as they really are, not as you wished they were. You've embraced impermanence, knowing nothing is meant to last forever. You've learned that detachment isn't about being cold, it's about being strong. You've trained yourself to prepare for pain instead of fearing it. You've started rebuilding your purpose. And most importantly, you've learned to master your emotions instead of letting them master you. Right now, you may still feel pain. That's okay. Healing isn't instant, it's a process, but you are no longer stuck. You are no longer waiting for someone else to give you closure. You are no longer clinging to what's already gone. You are no longer running from yourself. You are free, your next step. Move forward. If you've made it this far, you are ready for the next step. No more waiting. No more hoping, no more what-ifs. The time has come to do what your past self couldn't. Step into your power. Take back your peace. Walk away, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. And remember, you don't move on by forgetting someone. You move on by becoming someone new. And that new version of you? They are stronger. Wiser. Untouchable. You've got this.